For a session presented by Rocket Travel by Agoda, please welcome to the stage the Chief Commercial Officer at Agoda, Damien Pfirsch, in conversation with SkiftX Research Editor, Dan Marcec.
Afternoon, everyone. Damien, welcome. Good to be on stage with you again. We were on stage together at Skift Global Forum last year, and one thing I like about being up here with you is not only because you're a brilliant person, but also we share an affinity for pastel colors.
True.
And so we're doing it again. I think, if I recall correctly, we had pastel shirts that were different colors but matching.
Let's do fluorescent next year.
Yeah, exactly. So we're here to talk about loyalty, which we've heard about in pretty much every session here today, but we're really here to talk about it more broadly. And one of the things that stuck out to me really strongly was actually during Ashab's presentation just a few minutes ago, this disconnect between airlines believing that their loyalty programs are doing well, over 90%, and customers who are just not so sure how they feel about it, maybe around 50%. And we actually had a stat in our lunchtime presentation that was very similar. And what I said then was these two things can coexist. The loyalty programs can be performing very well, but there also can be customer pain points. So as we're talking about the new economics of the loyalty ecosystem, Damien, what's going on here? What's changing, and what are some of those pain points that customers are seeing, especially when we're talking about airlines?
Thank you, Dan. Mm-hmm. So really, I think in the past, airline loyalty program are all about driving repeat and preference for a certain brand. But things are changing. Today, loyalty programs are key drivers of profitability. It may sound a bit dramatic, but I would argue that points are sometimes often more important than seats. So as airlines need to constantly upgrade their loyalty program, they're really facing a challenge. How do they make sure that their points remain valuable and desirable? And today, we also see statistics like 50% of points issued are not used. Right? That's not a good sign. If you are giving points and people are not using them, they are probably not very useful. We also know that 28% of customers that leave a loyalty program do so because they think that the rules are too complicated. They don't see enough opportunity to redeem. So as for airline profitability, as airline loyalty program becomes more and more important for the profitability of the airline, the key challenge for them is really how do I make my points valuable, desirable, and how do I make so in front of the competition of not only the other airlines, but also bank loyalty programs. We've seen a lot of investment in bank loyalty programs around the last few years, and there's been a lot of innovation. And I think that's a challenge and an opportunity for airline to catch up and make sure that their program remain relevant and offer great redemptions opportunities.
So what do some of those opportunities look like? And how do, really, moreover, in addition to that, how do airlines know when their loyalty program is working and how they know they're retaining? Because, like we said, you can have a lot of members, but if they're not using the points and they're not redeeming them, kind of where are they?
Correct.
Where can they look?
So first thing that, of course, loyalty members wanted always and still want today is to be recognized as preferred customers. They want to be treated differently. They want priority check-in. They want upgrades. They want free bags. They want free seats. They want to be seen as very valuable customers. But that may have been enough in the past, and it's not enough today. What they want, first of all, is frictionless redemptions. Using your points should be as easy as using your credit card. You should just be able to pay with points instantly just by logging in into your account. They also want value. They want better value than non-members. They want member-only pricing. They want member-only promotion. And last but not least, they want access to unique experiences, such as, for example, backstage ticket to backstage access to a concert. The travel has always been an exciting redemption area for loyalty programs because travel create personal connection, memories that people will remember, and therefore they look at their loyalty program favorably because of all those memories. But that's not enough. Today, you need to propose unique experiences that cash cannot give access to. In a way, your points not only have to be as good as cash when it comes to pay, they have to be better than cash. They have to offer more value than what your money could give.
Right, and the really goes along with something that we talk about all the time, is that the travel experience is not just one part of the journey. So if you're talking about an airline loyalty program or a hotel loyalty program or something like that, they don't necessarily hit all those different points of the journey. So you're talking about all these different opportunities to bring this together. How do they deliver on this? And actually, this is probably a good opportunity to talk about, you're speaking so authoritatively on this manner. Where does Rocket Travel come in? And what do you do to help your partners facilitate these experiences and bring them all together?
Of course. So Rocket Travel by Agoda is a strategic partnership arms of Agoda, and Agoda is part of Booking Holdings. What we do is build white label platforms for our partners. They carry the brand of our partners, and they offer members the opportunity to book hotels, flight, activities, car rentals, using their loyalty credentials and using their loyalty points. But running a travel business is not easy. And we do support our partners by bringing to them the same foundational inventory and technology that powers our B2C sites that are used by millions of customers worldwide. For your travel offering to be pertinent, you need to make sure you have the best possible pricing, the broadest inventory possible, and you have to offer best-in-class experience, user experience. And today, we see that the partners that are able to offer such experiences see members offer not only points, but also cash. I think a key success factors of your loyalty platform is, are people ready to pay in money versus just points? In the past, people were just using points at a discounted value to buy something they didn't need. A microwave comes to mind. But today, this is not enough. Today, you need to make sure that you offer better value for your points. This is when your points will become desirable and when people will join your loyalty programs because they see that as a unique proposition. And the best sign for me is, are people ready to book on the same platform with their money when they have no points? Are you able to compete with Booking.com, with Expedia, with other OTAs? If you can do so, then I think you're a very strong proposition because it's not only a proposition for your members, it's a proposition that resonates with every customer.
So we're talking about this at a high level and more theoretically. Do you have any examples that you can share in terms of a company that has done this effectively, a partner that you've worked with?
So we are lucky to work with global brands, and a few are in the room, like American Airlines, Southwest, Emirates. We just launched a partnership with WestJet. Allegiant, that was on stage, we just launched a new platform for them two weeks ago.
Okay.
And we also work with banks like Citibank in the US and US Bank. And we see that when the experience is equal or superior to what you find on other travel sites, then this is really something that helps the loyalty program create the traction, the necessary traction for the brand.
Right, exactly. So just quickly, I'm going to pull up, we have a QR code where there's a report that we just published with Agoda that is not just airlines, but it touches on a lot of these different areas. So everybody, once it comes up, I'm not going to talk about it too specifically, so if when it pulls up, you guys can just download it. But the bottom line is that there are a lot of insights, case studies, different things like that. So you're here. What advice do you have for the aviation industry as they look at this new loyalty economy and how they can make inroads when there's so much competition?
Of course. I think my key overall advice would be invest in it like it's your core business. Right? For too long, loyalty has been left with some marketing team, and I love marketing team, but they don't have the same money as a core business. They don't have the same attention. They don't have the same C-suite dedication. So make sure you consider that as a key driver of your business. You wouldn't, lease an airplane from an unreputable company. So make sure you have the same care when you choose your loyalty partners and when you choose how to run your loyalty program. Practically, what does it mean? It means, number one, make sure your points are more valuable than cash. Right? How do you know if your points are more valuable than cash? I think a great sign is that your customers, your members, are going the extra mile to access those points. That means they are taking your co-brand cards because they want to earn those points. That means they are ready to exchange all the points to acquire your points. If you see that customers are looking for your points and that customers are then redeeming your points and you have a very high redemption rate, you probably have a very successful loyalty program. Number 2 is choose the right technology partner. Too many programs today are handicapped by antiquated technology platforms. You cannot log in properly, you cannot redeem, you have to call someone to process a redemption, to have an upgrade, for example. People today want to transact as easily as they do with points that they do with cash. So you need to make sure that you offer the right experience. Choose the right technology partner as well to leverage data and AI to offer personalized experiences. Some people may be excited by a backstage access, some people may not. Some people may prefer something else. Make sure that you bring to them something that is relevant, that shows that you know them, and that shows that you care for them. And I think the customers will respond very positively and embrace your loyalty program, and then you will come back and be a driver of your main economic engine.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And one of the things that I talked about in an earlier session too is this idea that product is so important. And so delivering, better seats, premium product, all these kinds of things, you have to have those available so that the customers want them. But in the end, exactly what you're talking about, you have to be able to know when to offer them and at the right times. So how do you implement that? What are some of the kind of, couple of key points in terms of making that personalization possible and making that individualization possible? What can you do to push that forward?
I think when we are successful doing it with partners is that when we are really able to share all the data together and create, it's a technical, but a data lake where we can both access within confidential rules, of course, but both access the information to offer the right experience at the right moment of the customers. It comes down to A/B testing as well. And how do we make sure that we interact in a way that will drive conversion versus driving too many choices, for example, and hurt conversion. So it's really about constant optimization, campaign, being ready to fail together, being ready to succeed together. A good example is pricing. For very long, if you were to use your points, and if you did the math, you would realize that you would pay a horrible price for that room. And this is not what people want anymore. People want to use their points. They want to pay the same price that they would have as a Genius customer on Booking.com or as a loyalty member on Expedia. And you need to do that, you need to run pricing experiments, to make sure that you find the right spots between what customer wants and the partners also want to make money from the transaction. So how you do make sure that you bring the two together and create the perfect balance.
That's great. So you're saying if we have a shared customer, we kind of have a shared responsibility, across airline, hotel, all the different parts of the journey. Well, Damien, thank you so much for your time. Everybody, please use the QR code, download the report, and have a great rest of your afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you.